Welcome back to this already the final segment of The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price. Talking to you about you and your business. Is your business be concerned about what's happening on the political front? Steve Parkhurst is a senior editor over at usdailyreview.com. He is also writes a weekly feature called Across the Pond, and I say with all sincerity, one of my favorite columns in all media, to be honest with you. I get a real kick out of it. You clearly enjoy your time looking on what's happening across the pond, what's happening over in Europe in general and England in particular, in terms of the political dynamics over there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I talk to people all the time about how I find the British press to be much more objective than ours. I think they equally attack everybody, and they have so many outlets, especially just in London itself. Keeps me busy every day by reading various stories and opinion editorials and whatnot. But it's a lot of fun, and I do enjoy it. And you never know what you're going to find in their press over there.
Yeah, you're never going to know. On the week of September 4th through September 10th, lots of interesting articles really kind of covering a lot of different issues. Cameron's administration seems to be a little rocky these days.
Yeah, and they've gone through what happens every now and then over there called a reshuffle, where basically it would be the equivalent here of a president midterm just reassigning his cabinet. Of course, over there, the equivalent of a cabinet, in order to be on the cabinet, you actually have to be an MP. You have to be elected, which would be the equivalent of being a congressman here. So it's a different setup. But
and the idea behind that is that it's easier to do a reshuffle because it's not like anyone gets fired; their job just changes.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's the sense. Instead of saying, we fired and replaced, is reshuffle. You just move people around and put them in different places. So Cameron went through that a couple days ago, and it's interesting because he replaced or reshuffled quite a few people, all the way from the party chairman for the Tory party, all the way through various positions. People who they got elected over there, and people were, unlike here, where hope and change isn't coming fast enough. Well, hope and change wasn't coming fast enough over there, so in less than 2 years, they tried to reshuffle to really get things going. They have a stagnant economy, really high unemployment, huge entitlement society, and they're David Cameron, as we've discussed on your show before, is a big believer in his concept of the big society, and things just weren't happening fast enough, so they just started to go through and just move people around.
Yeah, and it seems like Nick Clegg's going to be the loser in all that shifting around.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that's necessarily a good thing, because if he's ultimately a loser and then the Lib Dems are losers in the next election, well, that could be the bust of the coalition majority, and it could put the Labour Party back in charge. But yeah, Nick Clegg is he's had a bad 2 years. I mean, the highlight of the last 2 years has been him being made deputy prime minister. Since then, it's really been downhill. They've had some disastrous election results all the way around, all the way from London City Council. Let's say they actually have a different term for it, but it's equivalent of when Boris Johnson got reelected earlier this year. It's just they just have not had things go well for the Lib Dems over there. Yeah,
and I get the impression with the reshuffle that Cameron is trying to distance himself a little bit from them.
Probably so, yeah. And there's also been the whole, I don't want to get into too much minutia because not everybody follows it, but there was the whole issue with the Lord of Reforms, House of Lord Reforms.
Yep.
That was a big deal that Clegg had pushed, and when it looked like that David Cameron had backed away from that idea, then it looked like he was abandoning Nick Clegg, and so it's yeah, you're right. It looks bad for everybody, and it does look like David Cameron's trying to distance himself a bit.
My favorite article this time was your Tory belief starts with Britain and ends with champagne. I love that article.
Yeah. Like I said, you never know what you're going to find over there. You never know on a daily basis. I'm looking for sometimes some specific stuff. Today I'm actually working on, I'm going to post a story, kind of the British take from the Daily Telegraph of previewing President Obama's speech later tonight, talking about how this is an important speech for him, and the election could possibly hinge on tonight. So I go looking for stuff like that, and then I stumble upon a story like what you just mentioned, green issues, the green energy stuff. That stuff pops up all the time over there.
Time.
You just never know.
The thing about the Tory belief, I love it. I love how it starts. The Tories were never the stupid party as John Stuart Mill describes them. But at some point in their history, they did try to live down to Mill's resident insult. not these days. Over the past 3 or 4 decades, there has been a remarkable transformation. Really, really, of course, it's written by a conservative website over there, but very well written, very interesting article. People need to understand how that works over there. And it made me ponder a little bit. It makes me think, especially when you see what they wrote there. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of intellectualism in either party over here.
Yeah, I agree. And the website that you're referencing, Conservative Home over there, I have found just some of the most well thought out writing, put out by those guys. I think they're really, really good. That's a great website. And they publish, even though it's called Conservative Home, they publish on both sides of the aisle in the sense that they do allow some not so conservative commentators to come in and make and post opinion pieces. And I just think that they just really do a good job. And you're right, it's absolutely different than anything you'll find here. Yeah,
interesting. You were talking, and we try to do the same thing at usdailyreview.com. Today you could find Bill Clinton's speech, which, by the way, you were talking about the preview, in England of Clinton's speech, and Obama's speech coming up, and how important it is. According to the Daily the Daily Beast, rather, you know what? Obama doesn't even need to speak. Bill Clinton won the election for him in 2012 with his speech this week. Talk about that.
Well, yeah, there's been several people who have said that in the last, 12 hours or so since that speech finally ended, after 50 minutes.
Yeah.
It could be. I was tweeting last night that I think that I don't think that necessarily won Obama re-election, but I think it was. I think it set the bar way too high for what Obama can deliver. I don't think Obama can deliver a speech like that.
That's an interesting take on that, because to me the whole speech was about reducing expectations. Are you talking about his delivering ability? Because basically the whole speech was to say, you know what, even Jesus couldn't solve the problems that Barack Obama inherited.
Yeah, I think that's it. It definitely wasn't. Obama can give a great speech. It's different because, Clinton can get up there and Clinton can have a look on his face and he can deliver the speech like he did, and he can do how many times did he say last night, now listen to this, or this is really important. And so he says stuff like that, and people believe what he's saying. And the concept of Bill Clinton is the same thing as when he was president. He will get up there and he will say anything, and people buy into it, and it sounds credible because of the way he says it.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to write an article about this conversation we're having because, you're absolutely right. The more emphatic he is and the more he points his finger, the more likely he's lying. As he pointed his finger and was, lecturing people, I did not have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. What? It was just like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was just like that. It was like a lecture, just like the Monica Lewinsky accusation. It was just complete fabrication. And I tweeted last night that I think his speech was so long that I think he created more jobs last night for fact checkers than Obama had created this entire fiscal year.
Yeah, I think it was 48 minutes long is what I read afterward. And his lies, the statement there. And by the way, I'm kind of a Clinton fan. There's something about him that makes him interesting, and maybe it's just the academic background or whatever that of looking politics from an academic perspective a little bit. But this no president could have turned around what what Obama's had to deal with. And I think that's such a disingenuous statement. I don't think anyone expected him to solve everything, but I think we all expected more progress than what we got over the last 4 years, and no one has done less in 4 years than Barack Obama.
Absolutely, and there's actually some stories that are floating around today based on what Clinton said last night about the fact that Obama didn't, no president supposedly could have turned this around. Obama was told by his economic advisors and by various economists if he had done nothing after he was elected president, if he had done nothing as opposed to stimulus and everything that he did do, if he had done nothing, unemployment would have gone down to 6%.
Yeah.
But he meddled and he did what he did, and we're still sitting at 8.3%.
Steve Parkhurst, great over there at usdailyreview.com, senior editor plus a columnist and a political consultant extraordinaire. Follow him at Twitter as Steve Parkhurst. Thanks so much. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great weekend as well, and you spend it right here on this station.